name's Brandon Hawks. I'm from Alleghany County, co-founder of Liberty Rising LLC, a political consulting firm here in Alleghany County. There's a couple of things that was discussed tonight, and the first would be morality. Now, when it comes to society, but in this case in our county, I don't want to talk about morality. I deal with economics and policy matters, not morals. However, economy and morality do every now and then cross paths. It's very interesting. I read a piece by a woman, and her name is Isabel Patterson, and the piece is promptly titled "The Humanitarian with a Guillotine." Now, a little background on Isabel. She was born in 1886. She died in 1961. She was a Canadian-American journalist, novelist, political philosopher, literary critic, so on and so forth. Many do credit her with the birth of American libertarianism, but that's not important. What's important is what she wrote. In her piece, The Humanitarian with a Guillotine, Isabel writes how the producer, or employer in this case, is a much better and moral man than the individual who is charity-driven, or the philanthropist is what she calls it. This sounds outrageous, right? How is the producer more charitable and better and moral than the philanthropist who dedicates his life and time to doing the charity? Well, in a nutshell, Isabel said that giving an individual work provides them with much long-term benefits than short-term gains that are usually given by philanthropists. And what does that have to do with morality? Well, it has plenty. In Alleghany County, for instance, there are more people who are severely dependent on government agencies and charity than they are themselves. Now, while I'm not opposed to charity, I encourage it, everyone to participate, without government force, of course. There's another point to be made. Now, while the Bible, for instance, talks about charity and blesses the poor, it also states that production comes before charity. You see, why many religions, including Christianity and so on, talk about in charity and enjoy benevolence, they make it a second obligation to production. A moral obligation to be met at the producer's surplus. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means without work, without economy, there is no charity. You cannot be charitable with nothing. You have to produce and then be charitable. So the Bible understands that if a man does not work, he shall not eat. Now, without economy, people become destitute. That's just basic history. People seek crime, drugs, they do other things to fulfill their time when the economy is not good. If they can't find jobs and work, they're poor, they're stuck, they can't get out of the situation they're in, they go to other avenues for resources. Now, just the other day, I saw a single mom with her 2 kids talking about how she's going to lose her HUD benefits. Now, I'm no fan of HUD. I come strictly constitutional on it. There's nowhere in the Constitution where it says that's a department, but that's not the point. Now, she was talking about how she's struggling to find work in this county, wondering how she's going to handle it, how she's going to feed her kids. Now, I recognize that everyone's situation is different, and no one is the same. However, it occurred to me that I have never once thought in my entire life that I should get my girlfriend pregnant first, look for work, get married, and then find a house. It never occurred to me. I was taught the other way around. But that is the lesson we're teaching our kids today. It's better to become dependent and then find a way to get around it and work the system. We've lost our sense of morality. We've lost our sense of what is an economy and what is right and what is wrong. Now, there will come a time when what is good will be called evil and what is evil will be called good. That is preached a lot in pulpits. We cower before the unseen, before those who might get a little upset if we speak in prayer or if we say Jesus Christ. Give me a break. That's complete nonsense. If those who seem to preach tolerance don't have a clue what the word means, if they do not understand that basic word and that basic concept of what real tolerance is, then they don't know what the concept of freedom is either. Now, before I leave, I'll switch into a topic that's a little bit more different. Why is it that those who haven't paid their back taxes for years have never once been audited or had their property confiscated? That is a question I think I have never got a direct answer from this board about. Or passports, for that fact. It's not just, you're on the blankets, other boards and passports. Well, it just scratches my head a little bit. Now, I'm not talking about the people who physically cannot pay. Elderly, to circumstances arise. We are very understanding on that fact. I'm talking about individuals who haven't paid for years, and it's clearly noted. I mean, you can look when the Alleghany News prints the list of names, it's not hard to see who the repeat offenders are. But I don't hear their property being confiscated or being taken. I don't see that. I don't hear no word of it. Now, if it's happening, I haven't, caught on. But I want to read you a section from the Constitution itself. Bear with me. It's a section, it's Article 1, Section 9 of Clause 8, and it says no titles of nobility shall be granted. Now, I'll get to the point. Now, it reads, verbatim, no title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office, profit, or trust under them shall, without the consent of the Congress, accept any present, annulment, office, or title of any kind whatever from king, prince, or foreign state. Now, you may think this is a stretch, and it's complete nonsense. I'm really stretching this thing. Well, not really. Protecting certain individuals in this county because they might be head of a party, head of an agency, or might have a last name that goes a long way in the county, could be viewed as granting them special privileges. And that's a no-no. That's like creating a nobility class. We have one section here, and the rest of us have to abide by the law. But this section here is protected. I do advise this commissioner board, and I do advise the government of this county to tread lightly in those matters. Because if that is happening, and I've been hearing some things that it might be, you better tread lightly. That's a nasty situation in law, and it's a nasty situation in the public to be in. Thank you very much.